Welcome back to Coach's Corner. Girls basketball coach Christina Moralt now joins us. Her Lady Cats are 2-0 on the season as they get set for a big test this week against Oklahoma City Bishop McGuinness High School. 2-0 undefeated, and that's a great way, isn't it, to start the season?
It is.
The Lady Cats beat Noah. They beat another good team last week in the Ponca City Hoops Festival in the Oklahoma City Storm. Private school basketball, it may sound like it's an easy game, but those were anything but easy games.
Yeah, especially Tuesday's night. We started off behind 6-0, and it's kind of hard to gain, some momentum from being down. But the girls did their job, made for a exciting game. I'm pretty sure I have an ulcer now because of it.
Didn't get those ulcers when you were an assistant coach, but now that's what happens. That's part of the pay raise, is to pay for the medicine that coaches get. The Noah game, you guys pretty much controlled that, but the game on Tuesday night was a come-from-behind victory, but it was against a kind of a different sort of team, and a team we might mention that beat Stillwater's girls the night before. Mm-hmm. They picked up the pace. They put more pressure. They made your team do some different things, and once the girls kind of hit their stride there, they played very well on Tuesday.
They did, and they, it's the beginning of the season, so it's going to take some time to just come out right at tip-off and just, play our kind of game. The girls did watch the Stillwater game, and I think that they may have just had it in their mind that it was going to be a little bit of an easier game, right. Slower tempo, and KC Storm came out and just kind of took it to the hole, and we just weren't ready.
One of the encouraging things is you had two different leading scorers in the first two games, too.
Yes, that is always a plus. I mean, we had Leslie Wilson in that first game, and she had double figures both nights, so that's very comforting. And then we had Cheyenne Hull with 26 on Tuesday's game, when she was only scoring 4 that first game. So that's promising.
Well, it'll make our team harder to defense because we know we have a couple of other players that can score and will be our leading scorers. What else did you learn about your team after the first two games? Because you played a lot of girls off the bench. You got to look at a lot of players. That's probably something that we won't make determinations on until we get a little farther in the season, though.
Right. Well, I think our play in the post area is kind of struggling right now. We need to figure out our roles, figure out why we're on the court. We need to score. My guards right now, two girls are double figures, and then Brianne Cherry is sitting there at, I think, about 6.5. And so we need some points from Kenzie Lyons, Maddie Presco, Tessa Wardlow. So I think for the next couple weeks we're going to, in practice, really be concentrating on them doing their jobs.
You mentioned Brianne Cherry, and if you don't think a player can score 6 points a game and affect a game, you haven't seen our girls basketball team play. And it's not only her. There's a lot of players that are forcing mistakes, but when you're the first player that comes across the half court and Cherry picks them up, she had a lot of steals this weekend. She forced a lot of things, and then her teammates did a good job of recovering and going in for some easy baskets. But she is a very disruptive player that I wouldn't want to have to play against.
Well, she is, and she did so well on Tuesday because she didn't come out. She didn't get that break unless we had a timeout called. And to be that effective on both the offensive and defensive end is very impressive. I think she's scoring more than she did last year, which is something we've been working on, talking about, stepping up as a senior, being offensively present, and I think her defense is so good that it's allowed her to get those turnovers, those easy buckets like we had discussed earlier.
Sometimes you keep a player on the court because of what they do besides shooting. Shooting's just a part of the game, but we've got some shooters, we've got players that can score, and obviously play pretty good defense. Now, you're going to need all that to come together on Tuesday of this week when you play one of the highly ranked teams that we'll see all season in McGuinness High School out of Oklahoma City.
Yes, I think they were ranked 15th in 5A last week, and they're a good ball club. And the last time we played them last year, we kind of struggled offensively. That was very difficult for us. And I think this year, we're playing more calm. I think in our first two games, even though we've had turnovers and things like that, we're still scoring 45 points a game, which is fantastic, and we're over 10 turnovers for the other team. But I think if we can come together, we're going to maybe watch some film. We're going to go over game strategies for the next couple days. And then I think we'll actually do really good against McGinnis this year.
Well, you said one of the, if not the number one thing you wanted to do was reduce the number of turnovers, which was around 17 or 18 per game last year, and you've done that through the first two games.
We have. I wasn't very happy with how we did on that second game against OKC Storm. I thought there were a lot of turnovers that were unnecessary. However, we were able to kind of counteract that with our offense. We're going to try to slow it down this week. We only have one game. I think it's important that we try to possess the ball as much as possible tomorrow against McGinnis. And I just feel like the more that we have it in control, I think the fewer turnovers we will end up having.
Well, Coach, we look forward to watching your girls as they try to stay unbeaten as they travel to Oklahoma City McGinnis for that ball game, which tips off at 6:30 on Tuesday night. The Lady Cats are 2-0 undefeated. Coach Maralt on this week's edition of Coach's Corner.